Welcome back, squad. We're back with player analysis, looking at 2 tight ends. Let's hit it. Welcome back, squad. Today we're looking at 2 tight ends, like I said, Evan Engram, David Njoku. Let's just roll into it. So, a spoiler, this is one of the times when I agree with the rankings. ESPN has Evan Engram at tight end 4 and Njoku at 7. I agree with putting Evan Engram higher than Njoku, and here's why. Engram last season finished 2nd at tight end in fantasy points total, and he was 4th in average fantasy points per game. But the number one reason I like Engram more is because of his targets. Engram had 1 game with 5 targets or less, and it was in week 1. Another reason I like Engram, while they did bring in Gabe Davis, they drafted Brian Thomas, they got rid of Calvin Ridley. And that's going to eat up a lot of those touchdowns, and now there's going to be a lot more potential touchdown work for Evan Engram. Do I think Jacksonville's going to win the division next year? No. Do I think they're going to be good? Probably not. They're going to be a throwing team. Lawrence hasn't been amazing, but he hasn't been terrible. They're going to have to throw the ball. Engram had 4 touchdowns last year. I think that number is his floor. I think he goes for at least 5, right? I don't think he goes below 4 touchdowns next year. He could easily get 2 touchdowns in 2 games and then match the total right there. Evan Engram has huge upside, and he has a good floor with the targets. I really like him next year. David Njoku finished as tight end 6 last season, and he finished as tight end 7 in average fantasy points per game. Now, this one's a little bit heartbreaking for me because I love Njoku. I think he's super athletic. I think he has monster potential, but he's limited by one thing. He's limited by Deshaun Watson. I love me some Joe Flacco, and if you take out Joe Flacco weeks, Njoku finished at tight end 10 last season. Without Flacco, he finished as tight end 12 in average fantasy points per game, with a flat 10 points per game. Without Flacco, his highest finish was 17.7 points. With Flacco, his highest finish was 27.1 points. Now, if you look from week 13 on, the number 3 tight end on the season is David Njoku, and that's with him missing 1 game. If you look at average fantasy points per game from week 13 on, he's 2nd above Sam Laporta. But you know who he's below in both of those categories? Evan Engram. Yep, Evan Engram finished as the tight end 1 from week 13 on, even with Joe Flacco. I don't see a world where Deshaun Watson does better for David Njoku than Joe Flacco does. Can't believe I'm saying that. Joe Flacco's like 100 years old. Love the man, but dear God. It's just the Joe Flacco problem. With Joe Flacco from week 13 on, his lowest target total was 6 for David Njoku, and he had that once. Before Flacco, Njoku had 4 games with 4 targets or less with Deshaun. With Deshaun, Njoku had 2 touchdowns total. With Flacco, he had 4. He doubled his total with Joe Flacco in 4 games. If Joe Flacco was still here, I'd probably rank them a lot closer. I'd probably have Engram maybe a spot higher. Maybe. It just kind of sucks for Njoku. And they got Jerry Jeudy. Amari's coming back. I want to like Njoku. I do still like Njoku. I don't like Deshaun Watson. Watson's still going to run the ball. They're still going to find guys to run the ball, even if Chubb isn't 100%. It sucks. But I don't see Njoku in the top 5. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're super high on him. Maybe you love Deshaun Watson and you're crazy. More power to you. I just don't see it happening. I'm taking Evan Engram if they both fall to me. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, if you love it, if you hate it, give me your thoughts. Peace out, Girl Scouts.